Influencer partner ridiculed me prior to departing for Europe. Upon her return, I had disposed of the vehicle, cleared out the residence, and taken control of her online platform. My companion assumed she was headed for bigger achievements and decided to reinvent herself. I'm Ethan, a 29-year-old man, tolerated it for some time and even supported her efforts. Yet the manner in which she started behaving toward me revealed her true opinions about me. One specific event truly awakened me, and I realized the outcome wouldn't align with her expectations. So my partner Mia, a 23-year-old lady, imagined she was the upcoming sensation on Instagram. She previously held a solid position in sales, steady paycheck, perks, and all that. Then one morning, she declares she's quitting because her personal brand demands her full focus. Her brand acted as though she were Adidas or Samsung. She delivered a lengthy speech on how becoming an influencer represents the wave of tomorrow and how she only required half a year of support to skyrocket digitally. During those 6 months, I'd handle the lease, bills, food, and other basic costs while she directed her savings toward her venture. I thought, fine, let's observe her commitment. If she succeeds, wonderful. If not, I wouldn't face accusations of lacking faith in her. Warning, she lacked dedication. Venture expenses involved lavish purchases, upscale lattes, and trips nationwide to capture photos in leased vacation homes. She started viewing me more as a free assistant than a significant other. The commands she'd bark like, "Could you position this lamp for me?" "No, up more." "No, down." "Ethan, you're botching it," like. Apologies, I wasn't aware I'd enrolled in cinematography classes. Initially, I overlooked it. I told myself it was short-term and she'd move past it. But eventually, it appeared she regarded me as part of her equipment. The partner meant to stay hidden and avoid spoiling the vibe. All the while, I'm the one financing the style. Jump ahead to her major trip abroad. She planned a 3-week media production journey with her pair of influencer pals, Dorian and Lyra. Picture discount reality stars. The agreement was this excursion would serve as her ultimate effort before the half-year mark concluded. Afterward, she'd need to pitch in once more since I wouldn't sustain her indefinitely. I transported her to the terminal. We're nearing the registration desk when she spots Dorian and Lyra. They appear dressed for a runway event, even though they'll endure a cramped flight for 10 hours. They glance at me, an ordinary guy in casual attire, and share a quick sly grin. You know the type. Mia halts as if she's spotted a celebrity photographer. She turns with a horrified look and states, "All right, you can halt here. I'm confused. What are you saying? I'll accompany you to screening." She sighed like I'd requested her to help me mix dough right there in the airport. She glances at her friends and back to me. "No, don't position yourself beside me. I can't have folks assuming I'm with you. You'll damage my reputation." There it was, no goodbye embrace. No, I'll long for you, but actual worry about being spotted alongside me. For a second, I nearly chuckled, since it was ridiculous that this woman who couldn't cover her own housing believed she was superior to being seen with me, the person essentially bankrolling her fantasy. She wished for me to vanish, like a crew member handling cables backstage as she shone. I looked past her to Dorian and Lyra, who acted oblivious but grinned regardless. As I turned back to Mia with her elaborate cosmetics and pretended assurance, it all clicked. Each occasion she belittled me. She constantly behaved as if her existence was more inspiring than mine. I didn't debate. I genuinely felt more relieved than I had in ages. I simply grinned, agreed, and replied, "Yes, correct. Wouldn't wish to spoil your spotlight instant." Then I released the baggage cart, hoped she enjoyed her journey, and departed. No dramatic dispute, no episode for her to exploit an emotional social media update. Just me exiting. She stood frozen, uncertain how to react, maybe anticipating I'd chase or plead. But she received only my retreating figure as I left the building. I could sense her self-importance faltering behind me. Once I reached the lot, I pulled out my device. She'd be absent for 3 weeks, plenty of opportunity. She figured she was set to launch her image in Europe. She was unaware I was preparing to overhaul her whole image domestically. Believe me, I had strategies. The drive home from the terminal was the calmest I'd felt in a long time. Just me, quiet, and the awareness that I was finally liberated. At first, the vindictive side of me desired to go all-out destruction. I pictured arriving at the entrance, grabbing a trash sack and tossing all of Mia's sparkly ensembles, illumination devices, and expensive creams directly onto the lawn. Let the locals witness it. Permit her to approach her own mess of items upon returning from France. But I soon relaxed. That would provide her precisely what she craved: conflict. She could twist a tale. My wicked former partner dumped my things on the grass. Can you fathom how mean guys are? No, I refuse to simplify it for her. If she aims to be a content creator, okay. I was set to create, oversee, and revise her exit. The initial destination wasn't home. I went straight to the dealership and sold the vehicle she loved cruising in. To clarify, I possessed my own automobile for everyday purposes. Nothing flashy, just reliable and personal. But Mia always favored a stylish, dark crossover that gave her a star vibe whenever we arrived somewhere. She demanded it each time to pose against it like she possessed it. She didn't. The vehicle was registered to me, purchased with my funds, and I was finished letting her benefit from my investment. I entered the showroom, approached the sales director I'd dealt with before and said, "Hey, recall me. I want to offload the crossover." He was surprised, probably since few people unload a slightly used high-end car on an arbitrary weekday. But he saw my expression. No inquiries, just prepare the documents. They did a swift repurchase evaluation. Roughly 60 minutes later, I exited with a hefty payment in hand and 0 second thoughts. Phase 1 done. Mia adored that vehicle for making her seem affluent. She hadn't noticed its absence yet. I felt satisfied arriving at my driveway, but stepping into the residence hit differently. The space resembled a monument to Mia's vanity. Garments overflowing from wardrobes, cosmetics and lotions cluttering every bathroom area, and her extra room completely dominated by creator gear. Illumination stands, supports, boxes of trendy apparel she acquired for posts but never sent back. It no longer looked like my place. It looked like the behind-the-scenes of a cheap-style presentation. I paused in the passage for a solid moment, surveying and considered. Yeah, this ends now. So I retrieved my phone, searched for disposal companies, and located one that assured quick, discreet, and thorough service. Ideal. I contacted them, explained I needed all non-personal items removed, and proposed double payment for completion by the next day. The representative likely thought I was enduring a tough separation. I didn't clarify. Additionally, I booked a thorough sanitation team. If I was expelling her from my home, I'd do it properly. No remnants. I wanted to enter a space that seemed new, not shadowed by the memory of someone who prioritized her social media account over reality. After setting the home agenda, I settled at my workstation and launched my computer. If removing her items from the residence was phase 2, disconnecting her online was phase 3. We had joint entertainment subscriptions, food ordering credentials, and even premium shopping access. She was linked to all. I altered passcodes sequentially, deleted her as a permitted user, and locked down everything: streaming services, music apps, and payment methods. It was like purging viruses from my existence. Then came the highlight: her content creation enterprise. Mia possessed a site she used to channel all operations, sponsorships, details, and a modest collection of retouched images. And since I was the initial setter-upper and technology wasn't her forte, I retained access. I lingered on the control panel for about a minute, inclined to erase it completely. One tap and her tiny domain vanishes. But no, that would be too straightforward, too lenient. Instead, I revised the backup contact and number to mine. No significant alterations or removals yet. I was merely ensuring that at the right moment, I'd hold all the controls. It was evening when I wrapped up and Mia's items lingered in the home. But instead of stress, I felt serene. For the first time in a while, I wasn't handling her disorder. I was assembling a plan piece by piece. That evening, I had the finest rest I'd experienced in forever. No illumination devices glaring. No endless short video browsing from the other bedside. Just me. Peace and the knowledge that Mia's image was about to face a completely new kind of relaunch. The following day, I also arranged for a key specialist. Fresh locks, fresh keys, a new beginning. If Mia attempted her previous key on return, she'd hear a courteous denial click. The next day, the clearance crew would show. The next day, the residence would start resembling mine once more. And the next day was merely the start. I arose before my wake-up signal, which is rare for me. Mia's device typically functioned as the household alert, blaring some video mix as she recorded a morning motivation clip she'd remove soon after. But that day, zero. Just calm. Truthfully, that was the top wake-up I'd had in ages. I prepared coffee and relaxed in the family area, viewing everything freshly. The side table held lipstick containers, partially used tapers, and bills from promotional meals. The eating surface was draped in sealed sponsor shipments she requested digitally. She never unpacked the delivery crates piled in the living area corner. It felt like residing in a discount section. By 8:45, the debris removal vehicle pulled up. Two men exited, constructed like they'd been hauling fixtures since early school. They surveyed, then me. "So what's being eliminated?" one asked. I smiled. "All that seems like it fits an aspiring star. If it appears to suit a grown man, it remains." They laughed, likely assuming I overstated. They'd discover. I guided them through the place. Empty the wardrobe, washroom. Anything not scented like cleanser or antiperspirant goes. Extra space? Don't organize, just gather. Mia had turned the zone into her private shopping channel set. Supports dual illumination circles, shelves of tagged outfits, and piles of footwear she used once for a photo but then ignored. The men didn't delay. I waited in the hall, just hearing. The noises of containers dropping, hooks rattling, and compartments closing were symphony. Each thud outside signified another fragment of her pride exiting my residence. One guy came out holding a big framed photo of Mia's portrait. Seriously, she had a large glamour image of herself displayed in the sleeping area like in a resort entrance. The man stopped and arched his eyebrow at me. "Storage," I answered. He nodded and took it off. Yes, storage. I wasn't naive. I had all prepared for a locker across the city. Initial period covered and entry set. I refused to hand her leverage by destroying her property and letting her act victimized. No, she could rant to her audience about my cruelty. But ultimately, her whole trendy collection would await in a secured space she'd need to fund. By late morning, half the residence was bare. The wardrobe looked like a wardrobe again, not a store fitting area. The washroom surface held only my shaver, dental brush, and single container of wash. Basic, practical, and standard, not buried under countless skincare steps and mists. Light poured into the additional room. For the first time in a while, it wasn't buried beneath a mess of inexpensive fabrics and illumination tools. That's when my neighbor Grant stopped by with his pet. He paused, seeing the debris crew unloading piles of bags and garments. "Relocating?" he questioned. I grinned. "Not me." He chuckled, thumbs up, and proceeded. Even he understood. The sanitation group arrived after the debris removers departed with their loads full. 3 ladies emerged, equipped with suckers, pails, and protective handwear. They had the expression of having witnessed everything, so my chaos wouldn't faze them. I didn't need much explanation. They entered, viewed the empty spaces, and agreed like surgeons readying for procedure. Soon they were scrubbing edges, ducts, and even fan tops. One asked about an odd mark on the washroom surface. "Makeup," I explained. "Don't inquire." She just laughed and cleaned more intensely. As they labored, I sat with my computer and continued the virtual purge. I secured her from entertainment platforms yesterday. Today I went further. Ride services gone, food delivery gone. No more surprise fees for motivational meals. Then I accessed her content site again. I gazed at it briefly, tempted to delete, but that would be rapid neat. She didn't merit neat. I adjusted the backup details to mine and shut it. That platform would soon be my key asset. By afternoon, the cleaners wrapped. The residence scented of citrus shine and clean breeze, not styling spray and fake tan. They even sucked under seat pads, where I found 3 lost lashes and a partial snack bar. Mia was like a mobile sparkle explosion. Her things spread all over. After they departed, I strolled slowly through the residence. Every space felt airier, the barriers no longer constricting. Standing in the extra sleeping area, all empty and luminous, I could envision the arrangement. Weights in the angle, a seat, and maybe an equipment holder. At last, a zone for me to construct instead of her fake setup. That evening, I relaxed on the seat with a soda, viewing the match. No illumination hums, no device shutter clicking. No forced evening outings for posts. Just me, the screen, and calm, and Mia. She was likely in Italy, tilting her face ideally for a noodle image, assuming her man at home was still prepared to retrieve her in her upscale crossover. Meanwhile, the crossover was sold, her items packed and stored, and her virtual domain in my grasp. She sought room to expand her image. Okay, I just provided her all the room imaginable. And the top part. She was clueless her platform had vanished. Tomorrow, I wasn't just residing in my residence. I was claiming it, and I meant that in every sense. The following days felt like observing my existence restart live. No more mess. No more false content setups. No more altars to Mia's pride. Just me, the structure, and endless options. First, I shopped for furnishings. Mia picked things that photographed well but were uncomfortable in use, slim-legged seats that shook if you sighed deeply, a seat that seemed chic but felt like a bench. She focused on looks over usability. Now it was my domain, my guidelines. I acquired a fresh seat. large and comfortable, the type you could doze on during a broadcast. I retrieved my wooden side table from storage, which I'd made myself long ago. Mia hated it for not matching her style, but I viewed it as sturdy, authentic, and personal. Then I enhanced the screen to a bigger model and added a quality audio setup. If I was reclaiming my domain, I'd do it right. The extra sleeping area became the highlight of this overhaul. No more trendy shelves or flashing circles like an alien craft. I installed weights, a seat, a lift frame, and even a work surface for my creations. For the first time in years, the space didn't seem wasted. It seemed personal. And that vibe extended to the rest of my routine. With Mia out, I had actual leisure again, real leisure, not position this light as I record leisure. I resumed late-night gaming without complaints about it not being motivational. I restarted my crafting projects. Even the atmosphere in the residence felt fresher, as if the barriers weren't soaked in her synthetic aroma. Then came what I hadn't realized I missed most. My buddies. Mia always deemed my buddies dull, meaning they didn't offer her complimentary praise or like her posts. She gradually reduced my time with them. But now I contacted them and set up a true men's evening. The initial Friday sans Mia, my friends showed with food boxes, snacks, and sufficient treats to sustain a group. We viewed the event on my fresh screen, lounged on the seat, and chuckled foolishly. One friend surveyed and said, "Man, this barely resembles the same place. What on earth occurred?" I grinned, reclined, and replied, "I renovated." Began with the waste. The group erupted in amusement. It was ideal. My device vibrated midway through Mia. An image arrived of her before the famous tower, making a fake sulk she believed appeared enigmatic. No message, no how's things. Just her flaunting Paris while I was stuck home. I laughed, showed the phone to the group, and they moaned. "She's still going?" one asked. "Absolutely," I answered, and that's when inspiration struck. I snapped a quick photo of me and the friends in my fully updated family space. Fresh seat, fresh screen behind, wooden table central, and snacks all around, all grinning amid chuckles. I labeled it, "Place appears altered without you." Then I transmitted. She replied immediately. First, where's my gear? Then, what did you do to the place? My device hummed constantly for the next 10 minutes. Blocks of furious messages, calls repeatedly. "This isn't amusing, Ethan. You can't just act this way while I'm away. Respond now." I ignored every single one. I placed my device on the table, took another food portion, and laughed with the friends. If she craved conflict, she could yell into emptiness. The absence was the reply. She continued messaging, and I disregarded them all. Following that lone photo, quiet became my tool. Instead, I devoted time to organizing for myself. I'd always desired to cruise my bike along the famous route, but Mia opposed. She once said, "That's not motivational." Too unfortunate. I arranged it. 2 weeks traveling, just me, my ride, and the vast path. And I ensured my journey started the exact day her arrival landed. The schedule couldn't be more perfect. And then, with all set, I composed the message. Brief, cool, and businesslike. No extras, no feelings. Heading, key details for your arrival. Mia, following your wish at the terminal, I am no longer involved in your world. To achieve that, these steps occurred. Your items are gathered and moved to a safe locker site. Location is 123 Storage Lane, space 42. Entry code is 4321. Initial period covered. The crossover you used is sold. It was mine. The residence locks are updated. You are no longer living here. I trust this grants the freedom you seek. I'll be away. I will not be reachable for more discussion. Do not try. Good fortune in your upcoming pursuits. Ethan. I reviewed it once, grinned, and sent. That was all. Finished. Neat. No pleading, clarifying, or debating, just facts listed in points. If she wanted me erased from her picture, she got it. She just didn't expect to forfeit the rest too. I leaned back, shut my computer, and started preparing for the trip. For the first time in ages, I didn't schedule around her timeline or demands. I was scheduling for me, and wow, it felt amazing. That sensation lingered for the 2 weeks before her homecoming. I was more relaxed and content. Heck, I even whistled while readying for my bike adventure. Meanwhile, Mia's messages arrived regularly, half showing off, half alarmed. On her return day, I was already flying west. My buddy Calder, a true hero, promised to inform me of any madness that unfolded. Oh, he did. Mia evidently arrived and expected me curbside as her private driver. She waited outside with her 3 huge bags, scanning the crowd as if I'd appear with signs and greetings. When she saw I wasn't, she dialed me. Repeatedly. Calder said by the 10th, she was walking back and forth in full crisis. She finally hailed a ride, and not a regular one, a small vehicle where fitting even a small bag in the back was tough. The operator struggled with her large cases like a fitness challenge. Mia naturally stood filming her distressed and abandoned self because her crisis needed to be posted. By the time the ride reached my location, the fare hit high numbers. She tried her former key in the lock, 0, tried again, 0. That's when the true performance started. Calder told me she pounded the entrance, assuming I'd open from inside. When it stayed shut, she sat on a bag on the steps, staring at the entrance as if determination would unlock it. Then the dials, 48 in 2 hours. Recordings from Fury, "You can't treat me this way," to "Please, we can resolve this, Ethan. Just allow entry." She even dialed her content friends, Dorian and Lyra. Surprise, they were abruptly unavailable. 2 occupied to cross town and aid her relocation. Friendship, it seems, lasts only as far as influence. At last, she called the reserve, her family, 2 hours distant. Calder said their arrival resembled a poor comedy. Her dad flushed, swearing at Mia for squandering his day. Her mom wept like I'd barred their child from a mansion. And Mia, she sat arms folded on her cases, glaring at the residents like it wronged her. This was merely the entry scene. The genuine amusement came later that evening, when the defamation effort launched. Mia and her 2 pals posted coordinated social updates. Watery eyes, shaky tones, and labels exposing relationship shadows. Mia cast herself as a pitiful, deserted casualty, a guy she thought cared left her without shelter and alone. If I hadn't been cruising under desert skies then, it might have hurt. But honestly, it was amusing. I'd already prepared those who mattered. Before departing, I sent a low-key note to shared acquaintances. Mia and I parted. She clarified we desired separate paths, just hold opinions. That was it. No spectacle or fodder for her narrative. So when her fake sobs hit social media, people weren't convinced. The responses on her updates were skeptical at minimum. Some started whispering about the terminal incident where she said I'd shame her. Amusing how fast that spread. Calder messaged me next morning, chuckling so intensely he barely spoke. "Friend, your yard resembled an unwanted sale." Her father shouting, her mother sobbing, Mia yelling into her device. Locals emerged just to observe. Man, it was complimentary show. I pictured it while traveling the route. Mia on her case seat, the facade crumbling live. Her pals ignoring, her family exhausted. Her image falling apart digitally. For once I didn't play backup in her act. She wasn't the lead. She was solo outside, performing for a crowd that stopped applauding. And me? I was far off, watching crimson stone formations glow at dusk. Liberated, unreachable, and smiling like someone who just viewed the finale of a bad film. What's the greatest about quiet? It drives them wilder than yelling ever might. Mia had already shamed herself on the steps, sought sympathy digitally, and worn out her pals' patience. All I had to do was relax and observe. But I wouldn't let her fade. No, she merited one final surprise. Recall how I secured her content platform where she managed her operations. Yes, I'd held that key move and it was time to use it. One evening, I stopped the ride at a site, retrieved my computer and accessed. Her collection remained packed with altered shots. Her posing by my crossover. Her twirling in dresses I funded. Her drinking beverages she didn't purchase. It was basically a showcase of my spending posed as inspiration. Before clearing anything, I updated the code, shifted the backup contact and line to mine, and activated dual verification. Even if she attempted recovery, every prompt and reset went to me. Then I erased all, each touched-up shot, every false label. The sum was in bold crimson, and below I wrote, "Image is experiencing planned adjustment. Kindly return shortly for news." I hit update, shut the device, and reclined with the widest smile ever. Calder later said the schedule was flawless. One of her shrinking audience saw it quickly and sent her a capture. Mia had a collapse, he described. She shifted from photo with drink to furious outburst in moments. She attempted access but blocked. She tried code recovery, refused. When she contacted the provider, 0. By the time she grasped no authority, my device rang with her attempts. 27 in the first hour alone. I did not respond to a single one. When she couldn't solve anything, Mia did what she usually did, play the victim. She jumped on her social story, red-faced and sobbing, telling her followers that I had hacked her platform and destroyed her career. She even used the word career, as if she were a CEO rather than a lady with a device and a circle light. But here's the deal. Her career only exists because of me. She couldn't publish anything until I paid for the vacations, clothes, and dinners. She was sobbing over losing a job that was practically built on my cash. When crying didn't work, she switched methods. Enter the legal threats. About a week later, my lawyer called me, virtually ecstatic. "You're going to love this one," he replied, hardly holding back his laughing. Mia had hired a sophisticated firm, or at least sent a letter with their logo on it, and demanded that I give her access to the house, return the car, and pay her support because I had damaged her livelihood. My lawyer lives for this stuff. The man enjoys destroying weak arguments, and Mia had just given him a gold-plated one. He sent a rejoinder that was essentially a verbal roundhouse kick cloaked in legalese. Attached were a copy of the deed to the house. My name is clear as day. A photocopy of the car title. Again, my name only. An itemized statement for every expense I had covered for her over the previous year, including rent, groceries, utilities, vacations, and even the ridiculous studio lights. Her part of the total much beyond anything she could ever say I owed her. Finally, the letter finished with this polite but merciless line. "If Miss Mia Arlo decides to take this matter in court, Mr. Ethan will gladly countersue for restitution of these fees. We strongly recommend that she reconsider. Translation: kindly sue us. We would love nothing more than to see you be shredded in front of a judge." My lawyer told me that he chuckled while signing it. He stated that he doesn't typically receive this kind of low-effort target practice from ex-influencers, so he was enjoying every moment. Surprisingly, the threat stopped very immediately. No more letters, no more talk about the automobile. There was not even a whimper of support. She folded like an inexpensive tripod. And with that, her arsenal was gone. No house, no car, there's no platform, no career. Her buddies had left her alone. Her parents were fatigued, and now not even the law could help her. The best thing was that she had based her entire identity on appearing like a star. But when the lights went out, there was nothing left. Just silence. That quiet accompanied me all the way home from my trip. For the first time in years, my device was not ringing with requests, complaints, or bogus emergencies. No guilt trips, no assistant-level tasks, and no stage date-night requests. Just peace. And that silence was better than any retort. Mia's internet presence had entirely vanished by the time I arrived home. There are no new posts, no dramatic quotations, no selfies. The only traces of her brand were screenshots of rubbish disposal receipts floating about, exchanged in group conversations for laughs. I dismantled her kingdom without yelling once. No fights, no begging, there are no theatrics. It's just logic, receipts, and quiet. That was the killing shot. And wow, it felt great to squeeze the trigger. After that motorcycle excursion, I felt like a different man. There is no tension, no constantly buzzing device, and no planned photo shoots. Just myself, the road, and the kind of silence you don't realize you've been missing until you find it. When I returned to my garage and parked,